I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the next panel, which is SAE. For quite a while now, SAE has been recognizing and spotlighting some of the most influential women in the automotive industry. And if you appreciate the insights and advice from women like the accomplished executives and engineers you're hearing from today, then be sure to check out SAE's book, The Road to the Top is Not on the Map. Conversations with top women of the automotive industry. This wonderful book features female leaders and their experiences navigating their careers. Go to sae.org to check it out. And with that, we're going to introduce the next panel, the female engineer's perspective on navigating the future of AV technology. We have our moderator is Nina Grooms Lee. Hello, Nina.
Hello.
Nina is the Chief Product Officer at May Mobility. And prior to being at May, Nina was the Chief Product Owner of Ford Autonomous Vehicle Software Solutions. Nina holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering from the University of California, Berkeley, and a Master's degree in Business Administration from Harvard Business School. Next, we're joined by panelist Amanda Prescott. Amanda is the Director of Homologation and Feature Integration at Zoox. In this role, she's responsible for understanding and applying federal and state law for vehicle safety and emissions compliance to the first ground-up Level 5 autonomous vehicles. Prior to joining Zoox, Amanda worked at Ford Motor Company as an elite engineer in the Automotive Safety Office. Amanda has a Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering from Duke. And next we have Sonia Rief, the Vice President of Vehicle Connected Services and Program Management for Nissan North America. Sonia is responsible for managing vehicle line profitability in North America and accelerating Nissan's connected service business. Sonia has a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from North Carolina State University and a master's in business administration from the University of Michigan. Welcome, Sonia. And then we have our very own Dr. Sophie Wang joining us. Dr. Wang is the Director of Product Engineering at Velodyne Lidar. She has a bachelor's and master's degree in optical engineering from Huajiang University of Science and Technology, as well as a PhD from the University of California, Santa Cruz in electrical engineering. Welcome, Sophie and Nina. I will turn the panel over to you.
Great, thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity to help moderate the panel here today and to be able to engage with all of you. It's really an honor. I wanted to start off by saying that there's a pretty sobering statistic that I looked at to really get me in the right frame of mind for this panel. And it was one that really highlighted that the US labor force is 50% women. However, in automotive, it's only about 25% of that workforce that is made up of women. So that kind of got me in the right frame of mind to make sure that we could really highlight the phenomenal executives that we have on this panel today and learn so much from the experiences that they have to share with all of us. So I wanted to kick it off by asking just our panelists a couple of questions. The first one is, I wanted to learn how each of them found their way into AV or the automotive industry, and then what has excited them or motivated them the most while they've been in the industry. So I'd like to start with Amanda.
Thanks, Nina. I'm super excited to be here today and part of this awesome panel, and I'll just get right to it. So how did I get into auto AV? It was a little bit by chance. As you heard earlier, my degree is actually in civil engineering, which is not typical for automotive engineering. But I had a great opportunity to interview with Ford while I was at Duke. And I always enjoyed cars. I thought they were interesting. I liked them a lot. And was offered a role in crash safety. And really, I think that was key to my whole career, because every role that I've held since then has been related to safety. And really, protecting people drives me every day. And I've got a little bit of a sobering statistic to put to that. Globally, nearly 3,000 people a day die in automobile-related crashes, 90% of which are caused by human error. Working at Zoox is tremendously exciting for me because we have the opportunity to meaningfully change these numbers by integrating both the vehicle safety side, my background, and the AI driver to eliminate some of these really common causes like distracted driving, drunk driving, sleepy driving, to really realize the tremendous potential of autonomous mobility for all.
Great. Thank you, Amanda. Sonia, how did you get involved in the automotive industry?
It's a good question. And it was never the plan. So, you know, like many of us going through high school and trying to find your way, and at least for me personally, understanding, you know, math and science was my interest, was where I wanted to be, kind of letting that naturally lead to engineering. My father was an engineer. I had some kind of, maybe not at that time, concept though of that's what I wanted to do. But what brought me to automotive, which had never been on my radar, was really happenstance, was getting involved in racing while in college. You know, meeting a group of people, actually meeting a professor who was very, very open-minded, very much seeking to have a diverse team. So very appreciative of that. And I think, again, that speaks to all of us needing to bring in, you know, the people around us and then show them why our world is so exciting. From racing, I developed, you know, the passion that went with engineering, but to use it in automotive and in vehicles. And, you know, I started my career on the test track and as a test engineer, very hands-on, connected and autonomous. You know, that really becomes the progression. So as you're in automotive and you're thinking about your career and you're thinking about the future and you're educating yourself about how you stay relevant, you know, and how you add something new and different, like this is the space to be in. So again, it wasn't even intentional as much as, you know, kind of looking forward, looking at where we were going, where was the opportunity, where was the excitement. And that's, you know, again, kind of getting swept along in the new and the future.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Sophie, how about you? Oh, sorry, I think you're on mute, Sophie.
Sorry. Hi, Nina.
Hi.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, so how did I get into this industry? So I start from before I joined in Velodyne, I spent over 10 years in a telecommunication industry, which is like a matured industry comparing with this AV industry. So my optical engineering background and all those product development and engineering skills that I developed throughout my career life can easily be, you know, transferable to this new industry. It's young and energetic, full of, you know, new technology development, and certainly can, you know, fulfill my engineering curiosity. So on that regard, I kind of intentionally looking for getting into this AV industry when I thought about my career, thinking about, you know, after now I've been over 10 years, it's time for a change. I want to find some place that I can, you know, utilize my skills and experience, as well as doing something new and exciting. So that's how I'm here.
Great, thank you so much. And I'll share just on this one question, I'll share a little bit about myself. I like to say that auto and AV found me as opposed to me finding it, in the sense that I was working in Silicon Valley on software, data, and analytics. And then that led me to an opportunity at Ford to lead connected services there and then into AVs. So like several of you, I kind of just fell into the opportunity and have been really excited about it and have learned so much that it's really kept me engaged and wanting to learn more and more and be even more committed to making this great change related to AVs happen in the world. So with that, I'd love to learn a little bit more from each of you on how your perspective as a female has helped shape your product or helped you move the industry forward in new ways. So with this, I'll start with Sonia first.
You know, there's some great answers to a very similar question in the prior session that I joined at the end. I thought, oh, those are all fantastic examples, so I can't repeat anything similar. You know, the way I've actually looked at it is not even as much female specific, but just the idea of bringing a diverse perspective to the group. So what happens as women sort of enter into the automotive space and start to join the discussion with their male counterparts is, I think there's a little bit of an opening of the mind, is that whole team is aware that, oh, there are actually many perspectives that we need to start thinking about. And so while I, yes, as a female, but from many other perspectives, have a different point of view about vehicles and how they should be used and what I want to do with technology, I think even more than that, what it does is make the group think, you know, that we are a very small group, and whether we like it or not, I actually have more in common with that group quite often than we do with our customers. And I think that's the awareness that you help bring is, you know, we're all engineers. We've all chosen a similar work life. We have a lot in common, and it's important to highlight how many things we don't know. And I think what I was able to bring, or what I do bring, is the idea we need to seek out more points of view. We, you know, just in this room, we have some differences, but imagine how big the real, you know, the real scope of our customer base is, and how do we address all of those points of view? Because I might raise a great example. I heard that the scratchy seats, or, you know, the handbag in the middle, those are great examples, but think that's just one point of view. So how many more might we bring? I think it's been more about that, about sort of challenging the status quo a little bit.
Yeah, I love that answer, because it's really about embracing the diversity and bringing it into the fold from wherever it comes, whether it's female or otherwise. I love that answer. Thank you for that. Sophie, how about you? How have you been able to really bring your unique perspective to the work that you do?
Right. So as I was stating in a previous question, so as and we're engineering, this hardware engineering, we're here to solve, complicated engineering issues. I think it's like all the, some of the qualities that female can bring to the table are like, paying attention to details and, with being very analytical in solving complicated issues where, different perspectives can certainly help.
Great, thank you. Amanda, would you like to share your perspective on this?
Sure. Yeah, as Sophie hit on, there were a lot of great examples in the earlier panels, so I won't kind of rehash all of that. But yeah, it's really about just bringing the perspective of who you are and letting people realize that there's a vast array of people and perspectives and customers that we all want to try to make sure that we're meeting their needs and giving people space. I find often from being female, you're allowed to ask a question that maybe your male peers are not comfortable asking. And then once you've opened that dialogue, everybody's willing to sort of jump in and talk about it in a more meaningful way in front of their colleagues. And I think the two big things really are just some of the day-to-day pieces of being female. So we heard about the handbags. One of my examples is stiletto heels. Our vehicle design, you enter standing, unlike a conventional vehicle. So when you step up in your really fancy, expensive shoes, you don't want them to squish through the floor. And if you've not worn high heels at an outdoor wedding and aerated somebody's lawn, you don't appreciate this type of reality. And then also around safety, right? Our product guys were doing an amazing job thinking about our user journey. And when we get to a drop-off location, that the robot just rolls up and the doors open and you just walk out and you don't have to do anything. And I said, yeah, I don't want the doors to open when I get there, because there might be a threat out there that I don't want to interact with right now. I may want to wait 10 seconds, or I may want to be able to drive around the corner. Something that you can do when you're in an Uber or a conventional like New York taxi, you can ask the driver, hey, can we pull up to the next block or something. And so these are some of the things that not everybody has appreciation of, because they haven't had those experiences that some of us have on a day-to-day and take just as parts of who we are.
Yeah, that's a great answer, because it, easy, just kind of really honing in on the easy versus safe. Like, we all have different perceptions of what's easy versus what's safe. So that's really valuable input there. Now, moving on to our next question, and I'll start with Sophie first on this one, is what are the one or two most important things that have set you up for success in your career within auto and AV?
I think it's, I'm a hardcore engineer. I think it's the engineering ways of thinking, and also being, when it comes to problem solving, being, follow certain scientific ways and be methodic and systematic. And with the paying attention to qualities. So that's when we do lidar manufacturing, or solving customer application issues. I think that's the key.
Great, thank you. Amanda, how about you?
Yeah, thanks, Nina. So I would say first and foremost, it's been delivering results while making allies. If you succeed, but you leave a wake of people behind you, you're not going to actually be successful in the long term. And then the second one that a lot of people don't think about is finding your advocates. Who are the people within your organization that are going to push you, that are going to challenge you, but then also advocate for you within the organization on your behalf, so that you can get to where you want to go and where you're capable of. I felt very fortunate that in all of the roles that I've had people that are willing to push me, challenge me, but then also advocate on my behalf to get me where I have risen to in my career.
Great. Thank you for that. Sonia, how about you?
So, this is a question that I think over time I've been able to kind of narrow down finer and finer until I feel like, okay, these are the couple of key things that reflect kind of who I am and how I'm making my way forward. The first, very similar to what Amanda said about results, is initiative. So even above and beyond that is always stepping into the next space, offering a hand, solving the problem that you see rather than just raising the problem that you see, always going into that next thing outside of the daily job that you need to deliver. That's absolutely paramount. And then the second that I personally think is not raised perhaps enough is being genuine. So that if you want to have a successful career, one of the best ways to do that is to stay very consistent to who you are. People know what to expect. You're very comfortable transitioning between the professional, the personal, your trust and relationship with others. So I think that really that acknowledgement of who you are, who you want to be, and that you continue to stay very true to that regardless of the situation or the pressures or what you think might be expected. It's important to just be who you are. And then, if you're successful, it's the success that you wanted.
Yeah, I really like that answer, because as female executives, we all want to be who we truly are, right? In the workplace, we want to be our authentic selves, as the women that we are and represent in the workplace. So I love that advice, because the more that we're able to really bring that to the forefront and make it shine as females, the better it is for us, but everybody else that's coming behind us as well.
And
so
Allison said something about that in the earlier session about knowing which feedback to take and which not to. And it so resonated with me, is that's about being genuine. Lots of people will tell you about how they got, how they were successful or what they want to see from someone else. But you really need to take care that you're taking the feedback which is best suited for you and your style and your vision of who you're trying to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. One thing I'll also add is that I think it's also really helpful to challenge, for us to challenge ourselves to grow. So taking some of the feedback that helps you grow, but also understand like where our true strengths are and where we might have weaknesses, and we might need to have other people who bring things that complement our style, into our teams and into our organizations to help us succeed. So that keeps us from feeling like we have to be great at absolutely everything, and have just an amorphous style that works in any situation. Having the opportunity to really be real about what you're great at and continue to challenge yourself to grow, but also bring people, into your world who complement you in great ways as well, I think is really important. And being confident, with respect to doing that is something that I found to be helpful as well.
The best advice I ever got was don't do the things that you're bad at. I remember asking for feedback early on, and it was do the things that you're good at. You know what those are. Build your career on your strengths and make sure you know your weaknesses. And exactly as you say, that you find a team or the roles that complement, right? That can fill those. Don't just try to fix everything.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's great. So moving on to another question, love to talk about what we're excited about in the way of innovations that are that we expect to come forth for us within auto and EV. So I'd love to hear from each of you which innovations you're most excited about and why. And then if you could also share what impact you believe these will have over time. So on this one, I'd like to start with Amanda.
Sure. Yeah, what's really exciting for me, right, at Zoox, we're building a vehicle for humans to enjoy and AI to drive. And to me, that's just tremendously exciting and impactful because as I touched on earlier, many people die every day in automobile-related crashes. And as we start to roll out autonomy and all of this, it's a huge promise of giving people the option to not drive, while still allowing a variety of communities or opening opportunities for a variety of communities. I see the aging population wanting to maintain their freedom. AVs have the opportunity to provide that for them. People with disabilities actually having the opportunity to enjoy independent mobility. Seeing that everyone has the chance to do something other than drive while they're getting from place to place. You can sit and talk with your kids, see how their day is. You can take a nap, all really amazing things. And overall, it's more birthdays, it's more milestones with your loved ones that are not lost to car crashes.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that. Sonia, how about for you?
I think we can all imagine absolutely the things that are exciting to us is the potential there is in safety, as priority one. But then after that, the vision that we can have of this comfort and convenience of taking away the hassles of the daily drive or the daily commute, but still keeping some of the best parts. And this whole idea of integrating what we do love, I think particularly as Americans, about driving and the freedom of driving and perhaps that experience, but the ability now to choose when you want that and when it really is a day-to-day hassle and to be able to move between them. And then obviously as somebody who's very deep into connected, the idea of the seamless integration of technology that I have, where I can go from work to home to my vehicle, and all of my, preferences are kind of moving with me. I'm able to just very easily move between all of the different technology that I have, rather than, I kind of think of it as rather than today's like I got 400 passwords and every time I'm moving between different things, but the ultimate vision of, it's all just working together and my life feels very, very seamless and everything is very personal to me. So yeah, it's a great space.
Yeah, exciting. Thank you for that. Sophie, how about you?
Yeah, I think as Sonia mentioned, I think the lots of the most advantages, the additional options, freedom we can get through the AV. So I think to me, seeing also like seeing the Lidar can, spinning and scanning the world and collecting 3D image in real time, it can certainly helps realization of those fully autonomous driving technology. So I'd like to see that, see what potential it can, to the full potential of this of its capabilities. So I think that's the most exciting part for me.
Yeah, I want to build on that just a little bit more. I'm also really excited. I'm excited about everything that all of you have shared that we have to look forward to, but definitely on the sensor front, just seeing how much further we can push the capabilities of the sensors as well as drive the costs down, because that will be the way that we start to make AVs really accessible for all, and available to all, to make the difference in people's lives in the way that we all want to do so. So I'm definitely with you on that. And Velodyne didn't pay me to say that. It's just something that I want to see happen for sure, because it will make a big difference in the business case for AV going forward. Okay, so next, before we get to any questions from the audience, wanted to see if y'all can share advice you have for women who want to pursue a career in auto or AV. So Sonia, I'll start with you on this one.
That's maybe the most difficult. Yeah, the best advice maybe I can share, especially as you're early on, is I don't know how to say this, make someone else tell you no. Means never opt out on your own. You would be amazed at just how well you'll be received, or how much you can contribute. I think sometimes we are our own worst enemy in deciding that perhaps a room is not welcoming to us, or that perhaps we're at some disadvantage, and in fact we're not. And as time goes on, that becomes, I think, more and more clear. But if I could stress anything, it's like, don't opt out. Totally opt in until someone clearly tells you no. And I'm quite sure that what you'll find out is, in fact, most people will tell you yes, and you'll be amazed just how far you can go if you're willing to kind of put yourself out there.
Great, thank you so much for that. How about Sophie next on this one?
So my advice for someone who want to get into this AV industry will be just for someone who just got out of college, or want to find a job in industry. I would say, if you want to have a career in certain industry, just get in and see it for yourself. The exact department or job title or payment even doesn't matter. Just explore and have open mind, and you can try different positions, and until you find out where you're good at, and then you can now choose. You can have more knowledge to pick the direction where you want to explore further.
Great, I love that, being open to the possibility. That's great. Amanda, how about you?
Yeah, I would say similar to what Sonia was saying. Trust yourself. You are great. You can do it. Don't assume that you can't. If a job posting has 6 requirements, many of us would say we need all 6 of those, or we're not even going to apply. Don't. Put in your resume. Go for it. Trust yourself. Be brave. Don't be afraid to stretch yourself. The industry wants the perspective. The industry wants to give you the opportunities. And I read lots of resumes. Nobody has all 6 bullet points. Some of them don't have any of them. Those are a little frustrating, but bring what you have, be proud of what you have, and deliver.
Yeah, that's great advice. It definitely resonates with me on all the points, but this last one, because so many women, they take the job descriptions literally and say, okay, I don't have this one, I don't have that one, I don't have this one, so I'm not going to apply. And I've literally had conversations, it's probably like once a quarter, with folks who say, I really want to apply for this job, but I don't meet all the qualifications. I'm like, just go for it, because plenty of men are they're just tossing their hat in the ring. They don't even, you're saying you only have 70% of them, and they only have 20%, but they're still putting their hats in the ring. So that's something for all of us, right, to help coach ourselves and others on. The other thing that I will share is that AV is still developing, it's still new, and most people don't have all the qualifications, like the perfect qualifications, because we are still shaping the space and defining the technology. So the world in AV is our oyster, you know, as women and people in general. So there's every reason for anyone who's just even interested in the industry and interested in working hard and learning a lot and working at a fast pace to shape the industry, every reason for them to take the opportunity to try to throw their hat in the ring and just join us, because we're looking for great folks, and all are welcome. So with
Thank you,
that, I
Nina.
think I just did that right at the buzzer.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you to all of you for that really great advice. I think for me, I'm especially going to be remembering that be true to who you really are. I think it'll take you very far in whatever career that you have. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.